Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today I wanted to talk about how I have changed so much in the last 10 years. We'll pick an arbitrary amount of time, but I think I rapidly go through change, and I think even if I asked myself a year ago or 6 months ago, who am I would have a completely different answer now to back then. And this video was really inspired by a video I watched on TikTok. I know, such an amazing inspiration, but there it is. And the video was essentially talking about how the person that you are in love with like 7 years ago, like you're so not in love with them anymore. Like the person that you fantasized about and you had limerence or you were just obsessed with and that kind of thing. The person that really like made your heart skip a beat back then doesn't even come close to that same feeling now. And it got me thinking about how much I have changed over the last 10 years and how I have grown. In some ways, I have shrunk. In some ways, like it's not all positive. It's not all good growth. I would say the vast majority of it is, but being realistic, I'm 10 years older. There are things my metabolism cannot digest as quick as they used to be able to. You know, I have the starts of some joint pain and some difficulties with that. There are all kinds of things that change us, and it's not just emotional or physical. I feel like there are deeper things like your habits and how you interact, how you speak. I think a lot of these things are constantly in flux, and I wouldn't really want it any other way. There are a few people in my life who I've known my entire life who haven't changed a bit. And I'm telling you, these people have gone, at least in my estimation, 28 years without changing a single thing, including their styles, their habits, their ways of life. Sure, they've gotten a little bit older, but these people are almost the exact same. And it's kind of scary. It's like hanging out with a vampire that doesn't age. And I wouldn't want that. I want to be dynamic and I want to change and grow and go through bad times and good times and everything in between. So it really got me thinking about, this video really got me thinking about the idea of your preferences in love and what you look for in a partner, what you look for in life in general, and how those things vastly change. I recently did a video on like a legacy and the idea of what do you want your legacy to be. And I think this is another key thing that has really changed for me. Go ahead and watch the video. You can see how I think about legacy. But these things really aren't static, and we're told in certain situations in society through our parents or schooling or just the beautiful things we're supposed to love, that these are acceptable and you need to want this and you need to be obsessed with it and you need to work hard to achieve it. But these things over here, like those are not for you. Like don't look at those. And as we grow, we kind of start figuring out what society is telling us and how we navigate it. And I think it's so interesting that as you navigate it, you kind of figure out that literally everybody is a child trying to figure out and trying to understand how exactly it's all supposed to work. And we all are constantly changing through this idea and discovery. I'm not going to lie, some of the things that have changed have been very dramatic. So this is like embarrassing to admit, but I think like 10 years ago, I would have been, you know, quite extreme in some of my beliefs in terms of, you know, larger society. I feel like I was kind of not necessarily alt-right or anything that extreme, obviously being like a gay kid who's not religious in the traditional sense, but some of my views on like Western medicine and things like that were pretty, I don't know, damaging, that kind of idea. And I feel like even recently I've completely changed my idea on that. I've really changed my ideas on like being a lot more acceptive and inclusive towards transgender and people who are part of the LGBT community who are not necessarily thought of the most positively. And I'm very happy to say that I'm a lot more accepting of that as of recently. But all of these things really do change you, and it makes me think about the dustman's broom metaphor. And if you don't know, the idea is that a person walks up to a janitor or a janitor and says, "Man, that looks like a really old broom." And this guy says, "Oh yeah, I've had it forever. It's had 10 new handles and 12 new heads." And so at that point, is it really the same broom? Like, it's been completely replaced on multiple times, but it has this like lineage connection up to the original broom that it once was. And it makes me think about us as people, and are we all just dustman's brooms? They say that our bodies are replaced every 12 years or something like that. So I am a completely different thing than I was when I was first born on the planet. So it begs the question, who is Jax and who am I and where did I go and what am I doing? So yeah, basically it's just this idea of constant change and evolution, and how everyone kind of freaks out about it, and we don't like change because change means new environment, and new environment means dangerous. I think that's what our lizard brains think anyway. But like I said, I really would like to continue changing, and I would like the privilege of continue to change, because not everybody gets that. But it's just kind of an acknowledgement of everything that has changed and will always change. So sorry to be rambling. Yeah, I'm just thinking a lot about this kind of stuff, and this is my way of getting it out into the world. And maybe I just need to hear it being said out loud to understand it a bit better. But thank you for listening. If you could leave a comment, I would really appreciate that. I feel like I'm very lost in this topic, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around change and how it happens, and when you get to a new part of life and you're kind of very unsure of what's going on and questioning everything. I feel like that's where I'm at right now. So help me, please. Leave a comment, leave some constructive ideas that I can go off of. And as always, I hope you have a beautiful day. Talk to you tomorrow.